Hi everybody, this is Elena of the Witches Box, and I'm here with our monthly Witchcraft, or actually Witches Box Q&A. Hi, and like 2 days in a row. I see we've got some early birds, the Sacred Cottage, hello, Renee, hello, Cara, Michelle, and Rebecca, hello, Jamie, and Curls and Pearls, hi. Okay, now I need to cough. Why? I haven't coughed all morning. Colorado too, I love it. Hi everybody. So for those of you who are joining for the first time or are watching this on the replay, once a month we get together and I do a live Q&A about the contents in the box that went out for that month. We have the Witches Box subscription, which is amazing. It comes with a themed box of ritual items or spell items and herbs and all sorts of things, along with a deep dive digital video recording class that helps you go deeper into the contents of the box to help your witch learning. And then on top of that, we do these live Q&As where people who have the box or don't have the box can come together and just talk about the theme and just whatever questions you have around what was in the box and how to use those things. So that's what we're doing here today. I will show you some of what was in the box. Let's see what else is happening here. Misha, hello. Brooke, hi. Aisha, I think it's Aisha. Yeah, hello. Emily's here. Hi, wonderful. So wonderful. So Brooke, I have the Moon Mist sprays here with me because I had to replenish yesterday. I know I was talking about yesterday, the new Moon Mist spray that I was like a quarter through, but then I had a little impromptu ritual yesterday and pretty much used the rest of my new moon. So anyway, I restocked myself. So this is the full moon, the full moon mist spray, different color than the others because everyone's got different ingredients. This is the new moon. This is the dark moon. So, you know, I'm a fickle Libra. So I always say, this one's my favorite. This is my favorite. I think still consistently it's the dark moon one that's my favorite. But now since we're using the new moon so much, I'm really loving it. And the full moon has a little bit of a sweeter scent because it's fullness, it's beauty. It'll probably be my favorite when I'm using it. Those three came in the box along with the recipes for the mist spray. I know that some of you are like, oh my God, no, I just need the bottles that you made. So we have two different boxes. We have the box which just the 3 sprays and the recipes, and then we have the actual witch's moon mist box for the month of August. And in that you get 2 botanicals, and on top of that, I'm going to show you because I've got mine. You get this gorgeous, Laura Ellison made these for us, these gorgeous oracle card holders with a little like tea light that's included, the beautiful moon symbol here, and then I'm using my an oracle card by, I always forget, I don't know why, it's Moonology. This is what I'm using right now, and I like just to keep track of where the moon is, and so I like to use it for that. So I use this deck. This did not come in the box, but you can get this Moonology oracle cards by Yasmin Boland. Love it because it'll cover all of the phases of the moon and all sorts of goodies in that deck. So that's how I use it. And the main box that Emily's putting links to there will include both the one that has the oracle card holder and the botanicals that came in that box, along with the mist sprays. And then there's also another offering where it's a smaller version where it's just the mist sprays and the recipes. Both boxes come with the recipes. And then I'm gonna also at some point put the recipes potentially in the blog, and we can talk about how to put the recipes together, because in the deep dive video I gave some variations. You can play with this in terms of the amounts, but I would suggest that you keep the proportions the same. So if there are questions about that, we can certainly talk about that. Let me see what's going on here. Let me see what's happening here in the box. Or again, the chat box. Yes, thank you, Misha. Press like, subscribe, give our channel some love, because that's always a great thing. And I always forget to tell you to do that. So yeah, give us a thumbs up, a like, whatever it's called, and then also subscribe to the channel. YouTube likes to see that action. Pancake is watching me today. Pancake is such a great name. I love it. my goodness. What am I missing here? Those of you who were here yesterday for our live like oracle reading and Q&A will probably remember that I was a little like not on my game when it came to the chat box. I feel like it's also going to happen today. Yeah, the restock, Emily, is real. I had to restock because I couldn't. And I still have the ingredients to make my own, but it was just nice having extras on hand so that I didn't have to like actually set aside time to make it. They're easy to make. It's the quantities that can be a challenge for people, and it's acquiring all of the oils depending on where you are geographically. That can also be a challenge. That's the only thing. I tried to use oils that were fairly ubiquitous out there to get, but I think that I mentioned this in the deep dive where, what did I? Yeah, I think that I mentioned in the deep dive video for this box that, by the way, you only get the link to the deep dive video with the larger box, right? The Witch's Moon Mist box, not the Moon Mist spray set. We should have come up with cooler names that were more indistinguishable, but there you go. I talked about this in that video, which is this. Typically, when most of us in retail land go out and get essential oils, we get them in the 0.5 ounce or the 1 ounce bottles, which are fairly small. These bottles, because they're full 4 ounce size, require quite a lot of oil. Like a lot of these had at least minimum of 33 drops, which it's maybe a little less than 0.5 ounces, maybe just at that amount. So you can end up going through a lot of oil. I buy stuff in bulk, so it's a little easier for me because when I get the essential oils, I mean, I get like a big jug. Some people, by the way, who will be buying the mystery boxes, we have several left, will get a random like huge bottle of essential oil in each of those boxes. Not everybody, but some. It's kind of a little bit of a roulette game, but that's the exciting thing about the mystery boxes that we're having on sale now. In any case, I know that that's why some people have opted to buy these bottles from us instead of getting them, because you can go through quite a bit of oil if you're only able to access those smaller amounts. In either case, we've got patchouli, lavender, vanilla, orange, cedar, I'm trying to remember all of them. Rose can be really pricey, but I don't use rose is also really strong, so I don't use as many drops of rose in these. Is this it? Sandalwood. So those are the oils. Sandalwood can be a little difficult to get a hold of, so there's that, but for the most part, you're going to be able to find all of those oils on your own wherever, just about anywhere that you might be. All right, hold on. Let me oh my God. Hi, Marie. How are you? Welcome. I don't know what is going on with me in the last 2 days, but just the tracking of the text. What's going on? I don't know. Okay. I know. I love the holder too. So let me just say, I've got several holders from her. So her that I'm talking about, I'm going to show it to you. And then we'll just talk about magic and ritual, because I know I feel like I'm doing like a QVC video. This was done by Laura Ellison of Your Sacred Life. You can find her on Instagram and it's at your_sacred_life. I have this one, and I have one that doesn't have these little pretty things in a different color. I've got one that's a 4-card holder with 4 tea light indentations, so that you can have 4 cards and the indentations as well. I have 2 of those. And she has made all sorts of amazing, beautiful pieces for us. She's the one who also made for us the our spirit boards from a couple of years ago that are just beautiful. So definitely check her out. She makes beautiful products for us. And she's got a great inventory of cool things too. And I don't want to speak out of turn, but she can work with you if you want something specific. If I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken about that. So just know that, but check her out on Instagram. Okay. So Michelle says, I was so excited to receive the Oracle card holder because it was on my wish list. I know she makes beautiful things. I'm so new. How do I get a box, please? No, it's Misha, not Michelle. Misha, Emily will hook you up with the links and the things that you need to know, please, for getting the box. The Sacred Cottage says, I'd like to put the botanicals into the oracle holder and set the tea light on top to activate the herbs. That is such a great tip. I had not done that. I'm going to read that again. That's amazing. So the Sacred Cottage says, I like to put the botanicals into the oracle holder and set the tea light candle on top to activate the herbs. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Cara has a question. I take a medication that tends to react with everything, so I'm hesitant to ingest Damiana. Can I use the spray for the Damiana qualities to work with the Dream Workbox? Yes. Yes, absolutely. The other thing that you can do is just use Damiana on its own if you want to do like a little potion of your own. So you'll see this in the recipe. You always need something to stabilize and preserve the thing. So these are like a third. Is that true? Now I don't even remember my own recipe. These are like a third vodka. I really like using vodka as a preservative. It's fairly scentless. Glycerin is another alternative that you can use as a preservative. I just don't like working with glycerin. There's something about glycerin's texture that I don't like. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a preference thing. So, and vodka is also something that you can fairly easily find anywhere. I use cheap vodka. I mean, don't go into Belvedere or Kettle One or anything, extravagant. You can, if you're that witch, and that's totally cool. I respect it, but you can get vodka in smaller amounts that will work. So a third of the vodka, the rest is water and the oil. You can do vodka. You can do several hearty pinches of Damiana. And then I wouldn't even for that use, would I use water? I don't know that I would use water. I would fill it with Damiana enough so that you can actually see it. Where is it? It starts to distill in the vodka, yeah? And use that as a spray in the space. Just those things so that if you wanted to work with Damiana singularly so that you can really get to know intimately the effects of Damiana, you can do it that way with just Damiana without oil. I've actually never seen, I'm sure it might be out there, it probably isn't as popular because it doesn't totally smell great, but you can also do it if you can find a Damiana essential oil. I don't know that that's out there, but that's an option as well. So you can try it that way. And then the other way, of course, you can use it in the spray. That's helpful. And you can use Damiana just in a little sachet under your pillow as well. Unless skin contact is also an issue. So you might want to talk to your doctor about like skin contact. Laurel says, I'd like to know how you came up with the herbal correspondences for each mist. I love them. That's a good question. I don't remember because this is a long time ago. I think, well, I do know because this is kind of how I operate. How I operate is this. For instance, we have the full moon, right? The full moon is the culmination. It is at its height. It's also very celebratory. It's very open and aware and in your face. And so I take those characteristics and I match them with the botanicals that I also really love to work with and use. That's also very key for me. So it's about the botanicals that I have an intimate relationship with, because to just take whatever off of a list doesn't feel intuitive to me, really. The other thing is that I tend to weave very specific things. So things that you wouldn't normally, I'm going to spray this just because I want to smell it. Hold on. Things that you might not normally consider, like if you wanted to do a dark moon spray, like I did, and you think it's a retreat, it's about divination, it's a little bit more liminal, right? Wait, hold on. I mean, come on. I can do this all day. One of the things that's in here is orange, and orange is about familiarity. It's about friendship. It's about love. I want to weave that into it because even though you think, well, dark moon, retreat, divination, liminal spaces, banishing, it's almost like let's weave in that whatever is around you while you're doing this work is benevolent. Does that make sense? And so I weave things into it that, yes, will address the intention of what you're wanting to work with, but also what can I wrap in there that will also aid in the space, aid you in being held in the space in the way that you most want. You want things that are benevolent. You want things that are not necessarily going to hurt you. So that's kind of how I work. I also, when I was doing these, which was several years ago, I created the recipes while in a dark moon and doing a dark moon ritual. No, dark moon meditation, where I really just wanted to channel like what really needs to be here. What does my guide, what does spirit really want to be in this recipe for everyone to participate in and benefit from? So that's how I tend to approach things. Wait, oh God, hold on. Jamie says, I could literally bathe in these sprays. I need to make these in 2-liter bottles. They just smell so, right? I know. And we've talked about this before where I just spritz myself so that I walk around smelling like that all day long. Or I have it on my chair now. So my chair now smells like all 3 sprays because I like to kind of be in a place where it smells like that when I'm sitting in it. My poor chair. And this is a great way of using it too, Marie. Marie says, I changed the essential oils according to what I want the mist for. I made my first money mist spray. Oh, awesome. I need it to be able to get back on my monthly subscription boxes. We'll see how that goes. You know, one of the things that you can do too, we should talk about making a yummy money spray. But whenever you have cash, although how many of us really work with cash anymore, but whenever you have cash on hand, you go, psst, you spray each like bill to amplify that so that it multiplies in your life. That's a really fun and great and easy way to do money spells that also make your wallet smell amazing. So there's that. Oh, we should do that. That'd be kind of fun. I did not send out a money mist spray, but I did send out a money mist. I'm trying to think of what it is now. I don't remember the recipe at all. We did send out a money mist recipe. I don't remember. I don't have a single clue right now. Oh, I know what box that was. Hold on. It's coming to me. We had a money box. Not this year. Last year, I think it was March, April, or May, or somewhere like that, where we sent out a recipe for that. Need to look at that. Curls and Pearls says the new moon spray and the space protection from last month in combination has kept me sane this month. And August needs to end. Yes. Well, August is over today, and I love that you love both of those. I know we've had 2 back-to-back months with all sorts of witch apothecary blends, which is exciting. We won't be doing this again. I know I said that last time, but we're not. We won't be doing this again. It's a lot of blending for the amount of like boxes that we send out. So this is why I said we're just going to give the recipes out so that you're empowered to make them on your own. You have what you need, and I want to hear about how that goes for you when you actually make your own potions and blends. Okay, thank you, Emily. Emily's got links for everybody. I'm behind, so I know that you've already seen that. Purple Pixie, hello. I'm late, but I'm here. One kiddo has COVID. Oh, I'm so sorry. And my husband is feeling rough, so he'll be testing soon. This is my distraction while everyone is comfy. Beautiful. I'm glad that we can be a yummy distraction for all of you. I hope they all get better soon because it can be kind of lame. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of lame. Sharon Clark says the spirit boards are amazing. That box, I know that box was so good. That box was so, so, so good. Yeah, I love that box. Fire safety people. I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what that means, but I don't know what that's in reference to. I'm going to assume that you guys are talking to each other. Hold on. Eift. Marie says, what percentage of alcohol of vodka do you use? Oh, I don't know. Is it all different? I'm not a big drinker, although I do like my martinis. I just buy we've got a local, there is a way to buy it bulk, but to buy alcohol bulk, I would need some certification. So I haven't been buying it in bulk at all. I go literally to the liquor store. The guy thinks like, why is this woman coming in here buying all this vodka? It's like, I come out. So I buy, it's almost like moonshine. It's that level of alcohol. And it's like Papov or Taka. It's like huge jugs of Russian vodka. I don't know what the percentage of the alcohol is, but it literally tastes like it's gonna like burn off my eyebrows. So it might be very high. So there's that. That doesn't answer the question, but I've never actually looked at the percentage of alcohol. I've always just used vodka and not looked at that percentage. So there's that. But if you're asking differently and you're asking like how much alcohol or vodka do I use in my bottles, it's usually 1/3. You can do half even as well, especially with vodka. Vodka tends to not really have a scent. So some people feel really sensitive and they can smell it, but you can do up to half vodka, half water, if you were asking that, but I don't think that's what you were asking. Oh, Emily's like on it today. She's always on it. She says, yes, Damiana essential oil is a thing. Oh my God. I love Star Child. I love Star Child. I want that link. If I click that link, am I going to lose my place in this? I don't know. I'm not going to click that link, but I know to look at Star Child. That's awesome. You want the pure essential oil. Yes. Oh, yes. And definitely dilute it. You can dilute it in vodka as well. So there's that. Hold on. Ay. Dilute. My hair is kind of stringy today. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Hi, Kim. How are you? Welcome. I love the moon mist. Thank you so much for sharing them. Oh, wonderful. Michelle says mountain rose herbs also have, oh my God. So people have Damiana. Rock on. So you can use that. That would be great. The Sacred Cottage says, I didn't think about that. I use coins and toss them into my money bowl like a wishing well after spraying the new moon mist around. Beautiful. So really quick to just kind of bring it back to this and combine them both with money. What would really be yummy, you can use a new moon and you can also use the full moon as part of your money, because the new moon is about amplifying and beginning to grow. So you can definitely use that for your money spells as well. Brooke says, these are such good ideas. Yes, no, the possibilities are definitely endless. And I'll get into more possibilities in a minute. Let me just get through the questions. Welcome, Nicoletta. Oh, Rebecca, you have COVID. I'm so sorry. It's so lame. Lame. Hate it. Back in March of this year, it was unhexing. So no. March of 2021. March, April, May, or June. In that 4-month period, we did a money box. And it was either March or May, because I remember it started with an M. But no, not 2022. I mean 2021. I don't remember a lot of what box went with what month, but I do, for whatever reason, I remember that little span, because we did the money box, we did the sun box, and those like really tended to, those went really well together. For dry herbs, Emily says, for dry herbs, I use like 39 something percent, but 40%. It's called 80 proof. But for fresh, I use 100 proof, which is 50%. I don't know, and I'm really sorry that I haven't even checked that, because vodka is so like vodka. The Sacred Cottage, my heart goes out to all who has COVID. I hope you all get well. I lost my dad last year. I'm so sorry. Do what you have to do to take care of yourself. Yes, absolutely. And rest and a lot of water. Oh my God. The dehydration during this illness was staggering. It was really, I was almost like on a drip IV. Like I was constantly drinking water and I could not get enough. And it's probably I had a fever for, I think, 6 straight days or something. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with it too. Laurel says, thank you so much for the smaller boxes. I've been waiting for these recipes since they first came out. Wonderful. Curls and Pearls says, I've been doing my happy dance all morning that it's the last day. My son and cats think I'm nuts, but it's been rough. So ready for September. Yes. And September is this is like, we're at the doorway of my favorite time of year. I'm so excited. We're not officially in fall here in the Northern Hemisphere, but it's like September is the doorway. You know what I mean? And I cannot wait. Curls and Pearls. I read that. Okay. I'll get you some, Elena, or you can find some near you. I'll do a search. And also someone just mentioned that Mountain Rose Herbs. Mountain Rose Herbs is north of us here in the States. So I can maybe look at them. Namiko, welcome. Hello, I finally made it here on time. Yay. I always wanted to join this live chat, but it's a little difficult for me. Oh, 2 a.m. in Japan. Oh, Nami, that's a lot. That's a lot. Woo. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. I intend to use the full moon spray after I run out of the coins to complete the ritual. Beautiful. Money altar box was, oh, see, Marie is on it. It was May of 2021. I have all the years I've been subscribing, well, archived. I love that you've archived them because clearly I have not. I mean, I have the list somewhere, but it's never readily available for me. Can we just have a moment for Marie? Marie, I know right now you've taken a pause, but Marie has been subscribed since day one. It'll be 5 years. 5 years in October, girl. Wow. It's been a ride. I can't even imagine. And I can't even imagine how much stuff you have in your home because we've sent out a lot of stuff. Maddie, hello in Belgium. And Lissam, hi, how are you? These last 2 boxes are all my childhood potion brewing dreams come true. I love it. And interestingly, I just had a moment of like, oh, but they're not going to be able to get any more incense. But again, you have the recipes. This is, I think, what the real gold of these boxes is. It's not really that you get the stuff, it's that you get the recipes. Laurel, this is such a good question. And I get asked this question all the time and I never have a definitive answer. I've had so many over the years that now I just have my own notes. And anyway, let me back up. Laurel asks, do you have a favorite go-to herbal magical correspondence book? I have multiple that I go between, but I don't have a favorite. I don't have a favorite either. I mean, after all of this has been close to 30 years of practicing and learning, and which 30 years is such a long time. I have just my notes at this point and I go with those because again, one of the things that I've recommended for people, even though learning all of them is like sexy and amazing, really start and dig deep into and dive deep into the ones that you have readily accessible around you because we're all in different geographical locations. And it's so great to be able to get into a relationship with the ones that you have growing around you. And so I've tended to kind of like play within a range of like 10-ish, maybe herbs, even though I've collected obviously information for many, because my notebooks on herbs are pretty extensive. So no, at this point I just go by my my notebook, but I've looked at many books over the years, right? And then I just take information from all of them to add to my own. So I don't have a favorite. I don't know, maybe Emily has a favorite or someone else has a favorite they can bring up, because I know that we have quite a few and really good ones out there. We have sent out a few in the past when we had our book subscription box, but now I'm drawing a total blank. I am not being helpful for you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let's see. No, for sure, Marie. Oh my gosh, please. And Marie's got, I don't actually know if your IG is private or not. So if you want to share your IG, you're welcome to, but I've been following Marie for a long time. Renee, I just ordered 2 more boxes of the sprays. I might need an intervention. Renee, you're not the only one. There were 3 or 4. I think it was 4. There were 4 of you. I won't mention names and out you, who have been stalking me for these sprays since they first came out a long time ago. One of you made 1 bottle last years because in my fantasy life, I think that she was really just going like just 1 half spray to like preserve what was left. And so she's like, please tell me when you have the extras. She was already subscribed, so she got the box. And she bought 5 and the other 3 bought, I think, like 3 and 2. Like they just hoarded. I was like, you're getting the recipe, right? But no. The need was real. And I get it. These are beautiful and I'm really happy with them. I didn't really have, these were great because there have been things that I've created where I've made them and they might smell good or feel good. And it's like, oh, but something's missing. These kind of landed quickly for me. And I think that it was when I made these that from then on forward, whenever I made any other recipe, I checked in and I did a full on deep dive trance meditation to like really pull through what spirit and my guides really felt was necessary in these formulas. And so I just now make them that way. Like I have an idea and then I take it in and either get confirmation or get another hit like, yeah, but you need to add such and such. And it landed. These landed. I love them. Again, I've already gone through my entire new moon spray. Hello. I also use, so let's talk a little bit about some of the things that I do. So obviously, I don't talk about this in the box, but right now we're in a growing moon phase. The moon was new. What day are we on? I think on the 27th. And from now until just a few days before the full moon, I will use the new moon spray as a clearing rather than incense, although sometimes I love incense too, and I'm a big incense girl, but I'll spritz that spray all around because it does a couple of things. It continues to imbue what I'm doing with the energy that I'm focusing on when I'm focusing on the moon, but it also weaves the moon into everything I do, and I really want to cultivate that relationship. You know what I'm saying? And so it does several things. It continues to keep me in time with the moon, but it also amplifies the energy that I'm working with. And it just is beautiful that way, even though it's not necessarily intended that way. Traditionally, if you can call it that, when I do a new moon spell or new moon meditation, I'll use it then as well. But now I'm just using it on the day-to-day as I ride the wave. And it's been really great to just keep me really conscious of, we're growing right now, we're amplifying, we're building momentum. And then for about 3 or 4 days, like two before the full moon, one at the full moon, and then the day after the full moon, I'll use the full moon spray the same way, just to kind of keep that energy going and feeling that, but keeping it in my space and keeping me connected to the moon that way. And then I tend to not, well, more and more I'm using the dark moon more and more, depending on what I'm doing, but I will usually wait a few days after the full moon. So like 3 or 4 days after the full moon, and then I start using the dark moon mist as well. And I'll use that in my space. And then I get really conscious about that because the dark moon spray is really powerful. And the dark moon is a very particular energy, right? We're retreating, we're banishing, we're letting go. We're also kind of sinking closer and closer to the liminal. And so when I spritz my space with it, it's about like clearing out anything that's not serving. So that's the only spray that I use to clear out. The others are used to amplify what I'm working with when I use it in my space, but also when I use it on my altar as well. Does that make sense? So that's how I use it. And it's been great because it just keeps me, really connected to the rhythms that we're going through. And it really informs my magic in a really supportive way. All right, I'm going to stop to see if there are any other questions. I want to see what's going on here. Kara says, Renee, I have the monthly box and 2 of the just spray boxes. You guys are so funny. I love it. Teresa says, congratulations on 5 years. Thank you. I've been subscribing for 3 years now and have saved all the information in a binder. Beautiful. On that, can you discuss spiral notebook versus bound notebook versus binder? Oh, Teresa, the struggles are real. I don't have any of my things. So let's talk about that really quick because it's a big topic, at least for my Virgo moon. And somewhere in the past, I've talked about this before. Those pages for me, I don't put those pages in a binder. I take those pages, like I have, I'm running out actually, and I don't know where I'm going to get more. I have leather bound like 9 by 13, or maybe they're 9.5 by 13 journals that are already bound, but the pages are bigger than the Book of Shadow pages that I create and send out to all of you, right? So, and because I love to write and add things, and I'm kind of a collage artist that way, in those books, I take the Book of Shadow pages and I glue them on to the larger page, and I've predominantly worked with black pages, which I love. So I've got them on black pages, and they're framed in black. But the frame, the extra page along the border or the margin allows me either notes or to actually add little strips of paper with different things and add it to that as well. And I also write on my Book of Shadow pages to add notes and different things in a really fun, cool way. So that's how I do the Book of Shadow pages. That's how I like them. Now, I have then other Book of Shadow pages that are divided. I've got like for herbalism, I've got for tarot, I've got for specific spells and sigils that I've done in other ways. I like books and I like journals. Those, let me think. With the exception of the herbal one, The others are all written. Sometimes I'll have imagery that I stick on a page, but they all tend to be more traditional, and those are also bound. I like my things bound. However, the exception to this is this. I'm also part of the Sri Vidya Tantra tradition, and I have been a student of that for over 7 years. And those rituals are very, very intricate, very I want to say it is formulaic, but I don't want formulaic to sound diminishing in any way. These are rituals that are handed down from generation to generation to generation, and they need to be done in a very specific way. And there's a lot of pages and mantras and like scripts in terms of what you do next involved, where a ritual might be 12, 13 pages one-sided long. They're very extensive. For those, I have binders. I don't want to pull because then I have to, but I have a whole binder for all the things for that particular deity or that particular ritual. And what I do, because I need the binder with me when I do the ritual, as opposed to when I do most of my witchcraft rituals, there's no paperwork involved. I know what I'm going to be doing and I can guide myself through. So those I keep in a binder, but each sheet gets put in a plastic like protection sheath. You know what I mean? So it's all very Office Depot. There's nothing romantic about these. It's about protecting the sheet so that when I'm in ritual, I can go from one page to the other while I do offerings or whatever it is that those rituals require. So I keep those 3 different types of like book of shadow, notebooky binder things in that way. I was for a while doing, like, I tried my hand at digital. It just doesn't work for me. With the exception of I now have, because I have so many binders and books and journals, and I've put some in storage and some here, and I couldn't find these recipes for so long for that reason, that recipes and things like that I'm going to especially need for the witches box, I put on digital. Like I have Evernote that I've loved forever, and I keep them on Evernote. However, not that you asked this, and this isn't magical at all, I'm switching everything over to Scrivener, which feels really hard to say out loud because I have been a loyal lover and like voice for the glories of using Evernote, but there you are. Okay, that was way more than you probably wanted, but there's that. Let me see. Wait. Michelle says, I've put the pages in those plastic binder sleeves in a binder, and that would work too. So you have all those choices. It just depends on how you like it. And I love to do artsy things, but I don't always have time for it. And so for me, it's how am I going to use this in the future, and what do I have time for? Complete confession, I still have like a good chunk of Book of Shadow pages that I have yet to fully transfer into that journal. And I need to buy more of those journals. So you do how you do. I know people who have taken those Book of Shadow pages, taken a photo of them. Like they'll have the hard copy, but they'll take a photo of them and then create like a fun, cool digital something that they always have with them, either on their phone or on their computer or both. So there are many, many ways to do that. Oh, Curls and Pearl says, and spoilers for the next box, mine says delayed in shipping, even though we've gotten them out early. This is why. This is all the why. This is our new normal. Let's just be surrendered to the shipping struggles of the world. Emily says, I love Occult Botany by Paul Seder. I don't know how to pronounce that. And Weeds in the Heart. Oh, that sounds wonderful. But none of them are comprehensive. It's hard to find comprehensive. And this is why I think that over time, you're probably going to amass several, if not quite a few of those books, because the way I've put my book together is I've taken from many, many books over the years. And then once I have what I need, and I kind of regret this, there have been books in the long past that I let go of because I had the notes that I needed and wanted, and then I let go of the whole thing. You know me, now I don't know that I would do that again because I still regret that, even though I don't even remember what those books were. There is something about having them on hand, even if you're taking notes for yourself and collecting the information that you really want. Right. And then Emily continues to say, I tend to refer to tons of books for herbal work. Yeah. Namiko says, I forgot the name of the box, but I got single box with 4 kinds of bath salts. Oh yeah. With herbs last year, and I loved all of them. They smelled so magical. We did, I think we only did 3 bath salts, which was again new moon, full moon, and dark moon for your bathing ritual. Um, yeah, we did that and it was fun. The smells were amazing. They're always amazing. I'm kind of like anything that can make that space and any space smell amazing is kind of my steez. Um, that box was fun. That box was a lot of fun. I want to remind everyone again, those of you who have joined, because we've had a little bit more people join. Both of these boxes are still available. It's the Moon Mist Witches box that comes with the 3 sprays, the recipes, botanicals, 2 different bags of botanicals, and this beautiful card holder with a little tea light. And then we have the second box that's the Moon Mist spray set, which is just the 3 Moon Mist sprays. Kara says, oh, yeah. Wait, hold on. I'm going to put Kara on hold and go to Kim. Kim says, I just purchased the Herbal Alchemist Handbook by Karen Harrison. It's great. Yes. And that was the book that I was trying to remember that we sent out with the moon. No. With the book box. Oh my God, you guys, what is going on with me? The book box subscription. You know what's wrong with me? I'm going to blame it on this. Last night we had date night and John wanted to see Nope. I didn't want to see Nope because the trailers were so confusing. I'm like, I just don't feel like this is something I'm going to enjoy. And I will say before I get into why I am not doing well this morning, or one of the reasons why I don't feel like I'm doing well, but I don't know that I can actually fully blame it on that. The movie is very original. So kudos to Keenan Peele. I think Keenan Peele, is that his name? For making a suspenseful movie that is new. We need new stories. We're just regurgitating the same archetypes. We talked about archetypes over the weekend virtual retreat, but we're just kind of regurgitating the same pattern. We need new things. We need to break out and evolve. In any case, he did a great job of doing a completely new take on all sorts of things. It was very original, very well done, but it was super suspenseful. I am not into suspenseful movies. My nervous system was jacked at the end of that. I took a bath. I went right to bed. I couldn't, and maybe that's part of why I'm a little off, but holy cow, last night was a lot energetically for me. I'm like, at one point, I bit his finger like I was holding on. I'm like, I couldn't deal. It was just too much. It was too much for me. Okay. So all that to say that I am obviously not 100% because I can't even fully read what's happening in the chat. You forgot the name. So Namiko, I think that the name of that box was Sacred Bath Box or Ritual Bath Box. It's one of those things. Marie may know. Marie is still here with us. Okay, so Kara says, Ellen Dugan's books have great herbal correspondences, especially for gardeners. Not comprehensive, but some good stuff in there that I found super helpful. Wonderful. I love these referrals or recommendations. Oh, yeah. Okay. I love these recommendations. So another recommendation that's being mentioned is Blackthorn's Botanical by Amy Blackthorn. Amy Blackthorn does great stuff. So that's a great one, honestly. And then Corinne Boyer is also a recommendation as an author. You're welcome. Darlene Cope says, during a live a while back, someone mentioned having a wooden covered Book of Shadows. Does anyone have a link to a shop that sells that? I know I do, and I placed them somewhere in the forum, but probably not. Where did I put that in the forum? Oh, I think I put it in one of the virtual retreat groups. So Etsy has a lot of them. Beautiful. Some are really pricey, but well worth it because they're gorgeous. They're like hand down generation after generation books. And then some are more affordable and not as ornate. I have one and it's wooden cover, but then it's a binder inside. But most of the ones that I've seen on Etsy are actual bound tomes that have wooden covers. They're beautiful. So if you do a search for Book of Shadows, on Etsy, you're going to come up with a lot of options, but somewhere in one of our more private forum threads, I know that I listed a bunch of links. I can put links to that in our general forum, which is free to everybody. You just have to create a login, and there's a lot of conversation there about all sorts of different things. We can do like maybe a Book of Shadow thread resource guide or something, because there are beautiful, beautiful books out there, and I've got probably like 15 different shops favorited because they're so beautiful. Let's see. The Sum says, I should be receiving my box anytime today. I'm beyond excited for the book. The book is beautiful. Nicoletta says, I have been using the sprays and the card holder every day. They're beautiful. It's a really great box. I'm really happy with this one. Curls and Pearls says, yes to digital. I just feel calmer if I have my stuff with me. I feel spoiled in the digital age sometimes, and then when I have time for my self-care, it's making a copy in my sketchbook beautiful. Right, because there is something that is a little safer for the most part digital, because you can have redundancy. You can have it like up in the cloud, you can have a backup, and if anything ever happened to like your books or whatever, you've got a copy, which at this point I would probably recommend for all of us to have, even if it's like a quick and dirty, like let me just photo it with my phone and then just upload it to a file on my computer. At least you have that somewhere. I mean, look, I have kept many, many books and journals for decades and decades, and thankfully, knock on wood, nothing has happened to them, except for there were two journals and one art journal that in moving from one place to another, and this is my fault, because why would I package those books with other art supplies that had paint in them? But a paint tube like exploded and just ruined 3 books that to this day still hurts my heart. So it's nice to have a digital like backup. Not that you're going to work from that, but to have like the information is safe somewhere is smart. It's smart. And can also alleviate some anxiety of, what if something happened or you lost one or something. Nope to nope. That's what, yeah. Nope to nope. Again, he's a fantastic filmmaker. Hi, Iron. He did a beautiful job. It's Jordan Peele, not Keenan Peele. Keenan is really good, really original, but man, it was not a relaxing situation for me by any means at all. Your box says it's coming on Friday. Wonderful Sacred Bath box release, January 2021. I love you, Marie. You're amazing. Okay. Darlene, that would be great. Thank you. I don't know who you're talking to, but let's hope that. Okay, great. My box still says it hasn't shipped. Weird. No, it's not weird, because there's still a few that I was supposed to have shipped out, but our UPS guy came early. They weren't ready, and so they'll be picked up today. And Laurel says, these recipes are really special. I'm always looking for multiple ways to clear and set intentions in the future. Would you consider selling other recipes and not the actual product? Yes. I mean, in the future, I think that, yes, I'm just going to say yes, because I may change my mind about how, but yeah, definitely. I think it's important to share these. Because it's easier for people sometimes when you want something but you don't know how to put things together. I'm a foodie. I've been working with food and recipes for a very, very long time, and so things like this come really easily to me. And I love the channeling. I love just sitting there and opening up to channel like a deeper wisdom, so that then we have that. It's just a very special and exciting thing to do. Emily says, ooh, Jordan Peele. Oh my God, he did that movie Get Out. Oh my God, it was fucking terrifying. I didn't see Get Out. I don't. But John wanted to see it, and we were big movie people, and it's like, let's do it. Date night Tuesday. It was great. Yeah. And it was good. I want to say that it was good. It was just a lot. It was a lot for my system. Oh, Cara, it was great to have you here. Thank you for being here. I got to go back to work. I'll watch the end, post it on YouTube video. You're welcome. Thanks for hanging out and participating. Esther says, hi, Lena. The Oracle card holder is beautifully crafted. This box, like all boxes, was gorgeous, but it's now one of my favorites, along with the incense box. I love that you're all into the botanicals, right? The botanicals are so special. Any questions about how else to use them? Because we did talk about it in the deep dive video. I did share about how I'm using the dark or the mists now. How else do I use them? The other thing that I've really enjoyed is that, we have the moon ritual coven where every new moon, every full moon, every dark moon, there's a new ritual that's put out for everybody. But sometimes we don't want to do a ritual. You know what I mean? Sometimes we just like, it's too much. Life is too much. And even though you might have a script because I wrote one for you and you have a ritual in your hand that you can just go and do on your own without having to think about how to put a ritual together, sometimes that's even still too much. And there have been times, often, not like every once in a while, but there are times, months at a time, where all I do is I just take the new moon, I take the full moon, and I take the dark moon, and I just take an evening, not even an evening, an hour, sometimes less than an hour, to sit at my altar quietly and go into meditation and just sit in communion with that particular phase of the moon. There's nothing extravagant about this. There's nothing overly planned. It's like I'm coming into stillness and into quiet and just receiving from whatever the energy is with the moon right now and letting that be enough. It is enough. Oftentimes I get amazing transmissions when that's all I'm doing. And so when I do that, it's perfect to just, sometimes I don't do anything different to my altar. I just sit down, my eyes are closed, and it's the mist spray. I mist the space around me, I mist myself, and then I'm done. And I go in and I have my interaction with the moon, and that can be very potent, and it can also be very nourishing because we're not in the doing. And oftentimes the doing can be a lot when everything else in our lives is exhausting. I love ritual. I do ritual often. I love the setup. I love the approach. I love the planning, but sometimes I just don't. I can't. Ooh, sorry. And so I've been using them that way too, because again, it's this beautiful olfactory connection to her that I'm really enjoying. So that is an option as well, especially for those of you who are in the moon ritual coven and can feel like, well, this is like 3 rituals a month, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it can be. You don't have to do all those rituals. You can just do the touch in. I know the energy of the moon this month. I know what sign she's in. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to just interact with that space and that energy on its own purely. And that can be really enriching. I have to cough and I have to drink water. Excuse me. Let me see. Let's see. Okay, I read that. Don't watch it. Yeah, I'm not gonna watch it. He's great, but no, I don't need that. Purple Pixie says, any ideas on how to bless new land or how to connect to the spirits there? I read some ideas, but wanted to hear from you guys instead. So I can see that there's probably going to be quite a few suggestions. So definitely take those or listen to those, or, do what you want with them. Well, let me hold off, Purple Pixie, to see who says what to you, because I want to keep it on topic. That's more of a topic for like a Tuesday. But that said, depending on how large the land is, there are quite a few things that you can do. So let me see what comes around on the comments, and then I'll touch on that towards the end if there's time. Right, Esther, the mists are potent and not overwhelming with a sense. Definitely that was, so let me speak to that. That was definitely the intention. I don't want people to be super overpowered. I love really, really strong scents. So in the deep dive video, I talked about this. I'll talk about it now. You have a recipe and you can lessen the amount of oils or increase the amount of oils as you want. The only thing that I would recommend is that you stick with the proportions. So I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. I think we had one that had lavender. I can't remember anything. Lavender, sandalwood, and rose, if I am not mistaken. Where rose was like 7 drops and lavender was 33, and the sandalwood was 33 drops as well. Increase all of them by 20 if you wanted to, right? But it keeps them in proportion to each other. The amounts in that way work. So you can make them stronger, or you can make them less, but less by that many. So if you wanted to do 10 less, do 10. Well, you couldn't do 10 less for the rose. The rose is probably as low as it can be. So that one's a little challenging. You can probably only go up from there, but keep the proportions the way they are, because that's how that recipe came through. But you can make them stronger or or softer if you need them to, depending on how sensitive you are to the scents. I go bigger usually for myself because I just love big smells and I love the scent to linger in the space. I'm a little extra that way. And it's not because more would be more potent, it's just because I really love the scents. But congratulations, Purple Pixie. I'm so excited for you that the land is finally yours. Beautiful. The Sacred Cottage says, I just saw on her website that she has a Hocus Pocus Oracle card holder with instead of the moons. Yes, I saw that. I love her. She came to our last live retreat, however many months ago. I think that was in April. She's amazing, wonderful person, beautiful witch, and her craft is just gorgeous. And she also does really beautiful retreats as well. Marie says, I go through my herbs making tea out of them. Yes. There are a lot of herbs. I was looking at a list of all the herbs that we've sent out a lot of herbs over the years. A lot. And Emily says, and this is a true story for a lot of us, sometimes I light a candle and just cry on a new or full moon. The release is so important. Letting it all out. Absolutely. Esther says, I've been using the new moon spray on my bed. Oh, beautiful. Bed can be good too, to open up pathways for connection and, hey, maybe some sex. Yeah, absolutely. We support that. The full moon would be good for that too, for sexy times. The Sacred Cottage. I also use the sprays to spray over my bed. Beautiful. My husband said he's been sleeping like a dream. There is someone else who's used them a lot for her granddaughter who has a hard time sleeping, and it always helps her go to sleep. I don't know which one she uses specifically for that, to be honest with you. But yeah. And also the dark moon for the dream time can be really powerful as well. Have you ever experimented with using moon water as a base for each mist? Yes. The original one that I sent out, actually, that's not true. I have on my own, but the original one that I sent out had an extra ingredient in it that I don't have access to anymore, and it was the the water from Chalice Springs in England, because I went there and I don't even know how they let me go through customs through 2 different countries with this, but I mean, I got jugs of both spring waters and brought them back with me. The things you do. I don't even know that I would do that again now because I feel so extraction-y, right? But it had that. I don't have that anymore. I probably would never do that again. So note that. But you can use moon water. I would recommend, though, because you've got different moons in different signs. Let me think. Like, I would use something like Pisces or Scorpio for the dark moon. I would use it would depend on what you want, because I'm thinking Cancer, because Cancer is such a beautiful lunar sign. But I don't know how I would use it for the new or the full or both. So it depends on what you're wanting to combine. That's when you start to weave in your own magical threads into it, which would be beautiful. So experiment with them, because you've got this base recipe and now you can add or subtract to them if you want and play to see what works best for you. So there's that option as well, which can be really pretty to also. We did a moon water box in the very, very beginning of our history. It might be fun to do something like that again. That'd be kind of fun to do. Yeah, and Brooke just said the same thing. Brooke says, not the same thing, but similar. I bought a moon mist spray box. I love the idea of getting the recipe card and having that, as well as knowing you can switch it up. Yeah, absolutely. And make it your own, because it's your magic. And they're potent. I made them potent. I channeled them potent, and it's exciting, but you are also an ingredient in your magic. What you bring to the table is part of the magic that you create. And so play with them. You might find that also, especially if something like if you can't get a hold of like sandalwood oil, you can replace that with something. You can see what sandalwood's about. Oh my goodness. There's a bird fight happening outside. You can replace it with something that's similar in correspondences as well. So play with it for sure. Beautiful. Emily says, and there's the shamanic journey with the moon Elena recorded last week. Thank you for adding that. Yes. We'll do a couple more of those in the future so that you'll have a little repository of links to moon meditations. Esther says, can the herbs from your shop be used in teas? Yes. I hesitate because I wasn't sure. So the herbs that we send out are food grade. You can absolutely ingest them. They are, just about all of them are organic. And do your due diligence, because there is going to be counterindications between you and the herbs if you have a health issue or if you take certain medications. I am not doing that research for you. You need to do that research for yourself and do your due diligence and be super responsible for what you put in your body. You know, things like Damiana can be a huge vasodilator, which might give you heart palpitations. So you want, if you have issues, so you want to do your due diligence. Some of the herbs that we've sent out are pretty powerful. In instances where they are counterindicated for people who are pregnant, because that can be really dangerous. Obviously, it can be dangerous for anyone if they've got health issues. But specifically for that, I'll try to remember to put a little note on the bottom, like if you're pregnant, don't touch this or don't ingest this. But still do your research. The only thing that I send out that is not organic, but is still considered food grade that I don't recommend ingesting, but people do ingest, is the resins that I've sent out. But I don't know that we're going to be sending resins out for a while or ever again, just because they're really hard to source in these quantities, are things like myrrh or frankincense or copal. Some people will powder them up or ground them into a powder and ingest them for different healing properties. If you don't know what you're doing, they can be really, really hard on your liver and your kidneys. I don't recommend ingesting them unless there's something that's been prescribed to you by a naturopath or a licensed someone. You know what I'm saying? So that is the one thing I always say. Everything is food grade, but I would not ingest those. But again, we haven't sent a bag of those out in years, probably, because it's just really hard to source at that quantity. Like you've got resins in the last box, not this box, but the incense box. All of them have either myrrh or copal in them, which they're beautiful to burn as incense. They're also really beautiful to work with in a like a charm bag or a sachet under your pillow for your dream time. There's a lot of things that you can do with them. However, the ingesting can get tricky. Just do your research, do your thing, and if you have a professional who can guide you through that, go for it. It's just too risky to do it when you don't know what you're doing. A lot of sprays over the bed. I love it. Okay, I read all that. I read that. Can you design a witch book bound planner, please? I mean, that is on the dream come true list, but we have so many other things that we have to put together first that I don't know when that would ever happen. But I love the suggestion. Rebecca says an idea would be to set the mists outside during the corresponding phase. That too. Absolutely. Beautiful. Yeah, and Marie has been making teas out of the stuff that we sent out for years at this point, which is great. Brooke says, I love those movies. So suspenseful and creepy. Very, very well done. Really well done, but nope. Literally nope. Purple Pixie says 2.68 acres. Most of it is a steep hill. You can't walk the whole property. That's okay. I imagine it's probably magical and beautiful. So congratulations. That's amazing. Are you going to start blinking? Don't blink. Hold on. I gotta turn this off. Okay. Where am I? Plus water. Okay. Kim says ritual. Yes. Thank you for saying this, Elena, about if you don't have time, sometimes I just sit with gratitude. Beautiful. Yeah. With the moon. I've learned it's not how lengthy our craft is, but honoring our craft with pure intention. Exactly. And there can be something so nourishing about, let me just sit and be. We need a lot of that. We need a lot more of that than we really give ourselves time for. And the moon is such a beautiful, nourishing entity. So just to do that is enough. I'm going to actually post something about all of that in the moon ritual coven, just because as a reminder. I don't want The beauty of the Moon Ritual Coven is that you don't have to do the ritual now. You can just keep it in your Book of Shadows repository so that the next time in next year when the moon is in that sign again, you've got now that ritual and other rituals to kind of give you options for what to do. But you don't have to do them every month. You can just sit and be. So there's that. Lasem says, I've been rooting through my herbs, making teeny amounts of blends to light and experiment with incense. Yes, allowing my inner baby witch to learn by playing. Beautiful. Play. Beautiful. Yeah, I'll be back. Keep the ideas coming. Okay. Lasem says, oh yes, love spraying my bed and bath towels. Beautiful. I remember Minty Fairy opening her spring water box and how amazed she was. Oh, good. You're welcome, Denise. Bird fight so foul. So bad. That's a bad joke, but it's funny. Yeah, it was, I have which I need to refill, a hummingbird feeder just outside my window. And, the hummingbirds are super territorial, so they dart back and forth trying to keep each other from having it. But then some big something just came and flapped and hit something else. I don't know what was going on out there. A lot of activity. Marie says, yes. Also be careful with mugwort in small quantities, please. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Yeah, and wormwood is very tricky too. Absolutely. So again, I'm sending you stuff, and the Book of Shadow pages that come with those herbs don't really give you a lot of information. Do your homework. Really, really take care of yourself and be mindful of what we put into our bodies. In all directions, right? Because we do it with food. It's important to do it with teas and herbals as well. How does working with sun work? What is that? You mean in general? How does working? Can you, Curls and Pearls, can you say a little bit more about your question so that I have a better idea? I need a hummingbird swing. What is a hummingbird swing? I mean, they're so sweet. So I've got, right in front of my office is my beautiful cedar tree that I love. And so there are branches and it's all very wooded and beautiful. But then off of one of the branches and my little ceiling here, we've got a hummingbird feeder hanging between me and the tree. But then closer there is a big bird feeder. I mean, it's just, there's a lot happening out here because I love to see all these animals in front of my window. But A, it can be really distracting, and B, there can be some serious territorial situation. Add to that the squirrels and the chipmunks, and it's like, it's a lot of comedy. That's what it is. Laurel says, I know this doesn't pertain to everyone, but does anyone have problems performing moon rituals when your menstrual cycle is the opposite of the moon, red moon cycle? I don't know what that means. How do I not know what red moon cycle means? When your menstrual cycle is the opposite. So in other words, you're like bleeding on the full moon. Is that what that means? Because here's the thing, and this might not fully answer your question, but this is what I can speak to because long time practitioner. When you're bleeding mainly on the full moon, because that happens, there are all sorts of schools of thought here that you really should be bleeding on a new moon, that you really should be bleeding on a dark moon, or that you really should be bleeding on a full moon. And there's a lot of different things that you can do to kind of sync up. If you allow your menstrual cycle to be fairly natural and you're on a 28-ish day cycle and you're consistent-ish, you'll find that half the year you're around the full moon and half the year you're going to be around the new dark moon. That's just kind of how we naturally would ebb and flow without trying to change things. Right. My experience is this. The full moon is so charged, and when you're bleeding, you're so open, it can be incredibly depleting. And I should probably also put something about this in the Moon Ritual Coven. So to do a lot of ritualing or work with the full moon when you're so open and so prone to being super overstimulated by the energies at play, it doesn't make sense at that time to do any ritual, just because there's too much going on. You're way open, and now the moon is projecting a lot of energy. It's too much. So you can sit it out, completely sit it out, kind of hide away, do the things that would just keep you nourished. and rested, as opposed to opening even further to do ritual with the full moon when you're already so naturally open anyway. We're releasing, we tend to just be much more open to energy in general, much more sensitive to it. Yeah. So like that. And then if you wanted to, then you can kind of play with it where you start to switch your menstruation over to the new moon so that you're kind of flipping it and you're not as open during the full moon. You can do that. And doing that doesn't really require a whole lot. Just by setting the intention, our bodies begin to really pay attention, and over time you start to switch slowly. It's kind of the miracle of that combination of the connection with bleeding and the moon that is really so powerful. There's so much to learn there, but just I want my menstruation to actually be on the new moon, just keeping that intention in your mind, in your body, over like 3, 4, 5 months, you'll start to flip. It's amazing. If you don't do anything about it, you'll notice that you're kind of half the year one way and half the year the other. Because of our daily rhythms, so this is Emily, because of our daily rhythms are these days with light pollution, that's the other thing. Right. And there's a lot of things that influence the way that we bleed and when we bleed that can also be incredibly depleting. Curls and Pearl says, I keep dreaming about being in the sun, so it was just a thought that came to mind. We always talk about working with the moon. We did a whole box on the sun. The sun is the sun. The sun is like our life source in many ways. We cannot live without the sun. And we're also in a season where being out in the sun and being in the fire tends to be fairly natural for a lot of us. We want to go out. We want to imbue ourselves with this energy. The sun is beautiful because it is, when you look at astrology as well, it is our outward facing identity. This is where the invoking yourself ritual comes from, and working with the sun in this way, because the sun is just about how are you showing up? Who are you showing up? And so who are you showing up as? And so, working with the sun, I don't know that you were there, but we did the invoking yourself ritual. That was a whole retreat where you work with the sun to really reveal your fullest, truest identity beyond the stories, beyond the limitations, beyond the wounding that we carry, and working to dismantle those masks that we carry or that have been placed on us in order to fully come into your complete identity and your sovereignty and your full power. So we've worked with the sun that way. The sun is also a huge manifester. There is planetary magic that you can do with the sun, because you've got the sigils and the seals, which is very occultic, but they belong to the sun, and you can use those as a way to create magic. There's a lot of research there. If you go on Amazon, you don't have to buy from Amazon, but Amazon's a really great place to do the search. And then from there, you buy from whoever you want. Sun magic. There are several books that will pop up that will talk about how to work with the sun that way. Sorry, excuse me. Esther says, I bleed on full moon. Definitely a time for rest. For me, it's a releasing. I'm cherishing my cycle as I enter menopause age. I know I'm entering as well, Esther. And I've really loved and taken full advantage of my cycle over the course of the years. I was really blessed with some really powerful teachers and working with my blood mysteries. But things are changing now. I'm not regular the way I used to be. It's like, sometimes I'll show up, sometimes it won't. And it's like, okay. So it's like just savoring those last bits, right? Those last cycles, like, okay, things are going to be shifting soon. And so what does that mean? And what does that look like? But, there's much that can be done around the menstrual cycle magically and healing wise that I think, there was a big surge of people talking about how to do this in the 90s, and we still have people doing this work now, but I think we need another resurge in terms of that, because there's so much empowerment there and so much healing that can be done there. And thank you, Emily, for saying this. Emily says, I usually do find full moon so much more challenging than the new. It doesn't have to have anything to do with bleeding during that time. The full moon can be seriously intense. It can be a lot. It's one of the reasons why we did this too at the Moon Ritual Coven. I talked about the ritual of drawing down the moon, But drawing down the moon can be a lot. And drawing down the moon can feel incredibly overwhelming, like you're blowing your circuits because you're taking in so much of that energy. I think that it's a good practice to do on occasion so that you can really feel it, but you think you need to harness it and channel it in a particular direction. You have to know where you're going to channel it. Sometimes it's enough to try to just filter what you're getting by asking the moon to just give you what you need to replenish. But I think that the combination of where we are in the world today, with all of the stressors that we're all carrying today, handling any extra energy or any extra stimulation in that kind of raw manner, kind of has a tendency to want to push us over the edge because we're just already super overstimulated without fully understanding how or why. There's too much happening. So working with the full moon needs parameters, I think, and consciousness. Sometimes working with the full moon is simply staying home, not doing anything huge, not opening up, but maybe journaling your gratitude and being in the celebration of what you're grateful for, and let it be that, because it can be so much. What's happening here? Hold on. I read that. The Sem says, same. Full moon signals my heavy emotional phase, even though I am postmenopausal. There is a world where energetically, even when you're postmenopausal, you still cycle. We all cycle, by the way, all genders. But there's this idea that once you've gone past menopause, or you've gone through menopause, that now you're not cycling anymore. You still have an energetic cycle that you're moving through every single month, partly because we're all so deeply and intimately tied into the planets, into the moon. We're all in a cycle, and the seasonal cycles. We're in multiple cycles at once. Emily says, I used to notice that my cycle would shift from full to new, but recently it's been full dominantly. That can be part of where you're at and what you're going through with your life, right? Because also, and this is not something that I'm well versed in at all, there is a way to do divination with the menstrual cycle and how it's playing out. Who wrote about this? If the name comes to me, I'll mention it, but it's not coming to me now. Where almost diagnostically, it's both diagnostically in terms of what may be going on with you health-wise, but also what's going on with you emotionally, and what might be going on with you spiritually in terms of how that changes and why it's lingering in a particular way as opposed to, evolving or cycling through the year. Who was it? I can't think. But if it comes, I'll mention it. Rebecca says, I always I just lost Rebecca. Where did Rebecca go? Here. I always ovulated during the full moon, but now I'm going through early menopause. No idea how that is going to affect my rituals. It's an adjustment, especially when you've been so intimately tied to this cycle. It is a deep adjustment. One of the things that just came through for me in my own journey is that I've been really fortunate that my cycle has been really consistent my entire life. There have been a couple of moments where I've gone through tremendous impact and stress where I skipped because of the stress, but that happened maybe 3 times in my entire life. And I've never had children. So just consistent. It's always been there. And even though there's a constant fluctuation from month to month, my clock has been so consistent that I've really taken it for granted, and taken for granted, particularly in the last 15, 20 years. In the beginning, tuning into my cycle and really getting intimate with it really made me be present in my body, because I started to really be aware of, from day to day, I'm different, which in and of itself is a beautiful spiritual lesson. Every single day I'm different because I'm having these waves and these changes that go throughout the month. And so it really helped me get in my body. It really helped me really pay close attention to, what do I need today as opposed to yesterday? What support do I need today as opposed to yesterday? What will it be tomorrow? And my body began to really inform me because I was paying attention. It was always informing me. I was just not paying attention. But over time, because it's so consistent, I just don't even think about it anymore. And I realize that now that things are changing again, the process of not being in sync with that cycle that I've been so dependent on for so long has again renewed my need and my remembering that, oh, let me check in on a day-to-day basis, be really present on a day-to-day basis with, where am I today? What is my body feeling? What are my body systems doing right now? What do I need today? And it's going to definitely be different tomorrow and the day after that. And it's not going to be the same as it was 4 or 5 years ago when I was like clockwork. So there's a blessing there, at least for me in my own discovery, like, oh, I'm having to really get tuned in again in a really intimate way that I had just started to take for granted and wasn't doing anymore, because I just knew where I was going to be from week to week because of the way I was where I was in my cycle. So I'm really enjoying that. But it's also really, it's also destabilizing, right? Because the things that were similar before are not. And it's like, oh, this is totally different. I know that the way that my energy moves and how I have to manage my energy with the world is definitely changing. There is a lot of writing out there about the menopausal years. Menopausal years are also the crone years, where you're now a container that builds up a lot of like positive pressure and positive power. Like you're shoring up your power because you're not going through the cycle of release every month. There's a lot that can be explored there for sure that can be incredibly empowering, but it's the adjustment that can take a couple of years and can be really intense. A lot to dive into there. Certainly not the point of today, but because we're talking about the moon, of course, this is going to come up because it's such a mirror for the cycles of the moon. It's really beautiful. We hold in a lot of ways the cycle of the moon in our wombs when we bleed. Yeah, I have to sneeze. Okay, where are we? Denise says curl. Okay, you're talking to curls and pearls. Esther says, are there any sigils to incorporate when using the moon mists? I didn't make any. There aren't. Yeah, there aren't. You can make your own, especially if this is how I would do it. If someone gave me something like a mist that they made and I didn't, but I really bonded with that mist, and it became a particular doorway to a particular work, I would create a sigil for that, so that either the sigil and the mist could be combined together as a signal to yourself and to the space that you're doing this particular work and help you get there quicker, or to create certain spells around it. But I did not create anything around it. Laurel says, thank you for answering. Full moon group rituals have been too exhausting for me and I've been missing out. Yeah, but it's important that you are able to acknowledge that and then allow yourself to then do what can work for you, for sure. Again, I feel like I don't have to say this to this group, but I'm going to say it anyway, just in case, especially if someone else in the replay watches this. There is no bad witch. Do you know what I mean? And bad witch by you're not performing enough, you're not doing the things that you're supposed to do, you're failing. There's none of that. The idea behind witchcraft is intuitive connection to yourself and to the world around you. And when we're in present time connection, if I'm not up to doing a thing, that is what you honor, right? You honor the ritual, you honor the moon, but you also honor the need. The need within me right now is to rest. The need within me right now is to really retreat, not talk to people, or maybe to really socialize with those that I really love, because that's what's going to fuel me or nourish me. That's the practice. The practice is checking in and being true and honoring the rhythm and where it's at. So I'll always repeat that because I know that some of us fall into that, and it's important to just let yourself off the hook and really recognize and remember that the real practice, the powerful practice, is to respond in relationship to what's really true and real today, right now, in the moment. Let's see. I was blessed. This is Lasem. I was blessed with a long, slow process. Gave me lots of time to adjust and accept. Curls and Pearls says, I have homework now. So excited. Good. Okay. The Sum says you can still ritual in stillness from bed, perform your self-care instead. Exactly that. Esther says womb healing, yoni art, watering my garden with my blood waters. Beautiful. Yes. Esther says I've offered it to the earth at night during a very challenging time in my life. Very magical, very powerful magic. Very, very powerful magic. That is something else that you can do if it works to save your blood until the dark moon. Um, Releasing your bloods into the earth during a dark moon can be a powerful banishing and a powerful release ritual. And this next part of the conversation isn't for the squeamish, but let's say that you bleed during the full moon and you're saving your blood. Blood doesn't hold and stick around for a long time. It starts to decompose very quickly outside the body. You can blend it with water and you can freeze it. Freeze it with intention, right? That you're holding it in time for a minute so that when you are on the dark moon, then you can defrost it and use it to spill it onto the earth and feed it back to the earth as an offering. But in terms of a banishing or a releasing ritual, it can be incredibly powerful. Especially, well, there is a world where no matter what you think that you're releasing or banishing, it's all in you, right? So you're releasing something of yourself and you're giving it over for transmutation to the earth. Very, very powerful work. Blood is always deeply powerful magic. It is imbued with your very life force, your very material for existence. And so that magic it moves mountains. It's really, really powerful. Oh, we've gone over a lot. So I'm going to try to wrap this up in maybe 10 to 15 minutes max. Hold on. Curls and Pearls says, I'm always on the new moon and feel so drained. All I can do is sleep. I can't even imagine how it would feel to be a full moon major. I can't even imagine how it would feel on the full moon. It can be a lot. Esther says, true that, sister. Sometimes my full moon ritual is fuzzy socks, a good book, and a movie. Boom. That is it. And maybe a little chocolate is what I'm saying. Chocolate is medicine. Emily says divination with the menstrual cycle would be amazing. Right? I need to remember who wrote that because I remember, and it's just not something I've actually never done that, but I remember reading about it thinking, oh my God, that's really a lot. There is also, then if you see a naturopath, there is the diagnostic end of it, right? It's Tree is someone to talk to about that. The diagnostic in terms of what's going on. What does it look like? What is the consistency of your menstrual blood to help diagnose where your hormones are and what your body might need physically in terms of healing. But the divination thing is a whole other thing. And that, I need to dig into that because I'm just now talking about it, getting excited about it again. Laurel says, how do you personally cleanse and charge your crystals? I love the crystals in the mist bottles. I stick them out under the sun or the full moon, depending on what I'm called to do as a way to kind of cleanse them. Or I do this a lot too because I love salt. Salt is one of my I don't know that you can call salt a botanical, but I do. I stick them in a bowl of salt to kind of neutralize whatever is going on in them and then using them again. However, this is interesting. I was going to try to do a little video around this, like a little IG reel, but I don't know. Maybe. I work a lot with black tourmaline when I do energy clearings or neutralizing an energetic that's not serving. And I did a pretty significant ongoing spell that didn't require, but I felt called to do 4 what are those called when we have a single point, one of these, but it was black tourmaline. But what is this shape called? Like a single point something, right? Anyway, it was 4 fairly large black tourmalines in that shape. And I had that as part of the spell, and the spell worked, very powerful. And then once I was done, I set them out to clear. The full moon didn't do it. I've left them out in the sun and the moon now for 3 months. They're just out there. And I looked at them again yesterday and I'm like, I can't bring these back into my fold just because there's something about that particular spell and what was being released and neutralized. I can't even touch them. Something about it just isn't going away. And so yesterday, while I was kind of sitting with this, I just got the hit that they just need to be buried and let go. So I have never experienced that before, ever. I've always easily neutralized whatever was going on in any crystal and used them. But I think that the nature of what this was so powerful for me that I'm like, it's time to just fully to end the spell, they need to be just transmuted and given back to the earth. And so I'll be burying them. But that was more than you asked for. A crystal point. Thank you. Thank you. A crystal point. So there's that. Oh, I'm going to read this even though it was to Esther. Oh, it's okay, Teresa. Thank you for hanging out with us. You'll have the replay so you can watch it again later. Take care and have a good day. Sacred Cottage says to Esther, you could use the astrological sign as a sigil depending on what energy you're calling in with the mist. Oh my God, yes. And if you make your own mist, you can make several different bottles where you, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. All these things just went through my head. I don't even know what to do with them, but they're great ideas. You can make different waters or different mists. This would require a lot of resources, but you can make different mists with the actual planetary sigil that you're working with and put it on the bottle. You can use the moon sigil with the sign sigil, with the planetary sigil that rules the sign. Like there's a lot of alchemical combinations that you can do there if you're going to get really specific. However, probably the easier way to do that is to make the mist so that you have the entire formula with the proportions already there. And then also have a repository of moon waters for each of the moon signs that you are working with. And then pour a little bit of the mist into each of those so that the water and the moon water, so the moon water with the particular sigils are what activate the oil blend that you put in. Does that make sense? I don't even know what I would do with that right now, but all of that just kind of came together. That's such a great suggestion. That can really amplify the specificity of your magic with the potion mist that you're using. Oh my God. I'm going to write this down because this needs to be dived into. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for saying that, Sacred Cottage. That was amazing. Bye, Purple Pixie. We'll see you soon. Yeah, we're gonna end soon because really this is an hour and a half. Mama's got a lot to do today. Emily says, yes, Esther, absolutely. I offer mine to the earth too, and I also use it as a face mask for myself. My kids find it jarring, but they are learning not to be afraid of menstruation. Beautiful. It's such an important thing to teach our children. It's biology. It's beautiful life. We are as witches love life. Hopefully. Ideally. We do here. Emily says, I noticed it firms and tightens the skin a lot. I mean, the regenerative power is really powerful. Laurel says, that's interesting about the crystals. Sometimes I feel like they are hard to energetically scrub. Yeah, and I've never experienced that. Salt, like I'll do different combinations. Sometimes the moon is fine. Sometimes they hang out in the sun and the sun will do the job. And when it's been, I'll own that it's partly me, right? And my relationship to what I use them for that's still maybe lingering in me. When I really want to scrub them, quote unquote, they'll be buried in a bowl of salt out in the sun. So all of that goes into it together. I've never experienced this before, and I recognize how much of it is my emotional charge around the spell. But there was something about it that's just, this needs to fully transmute, and I won't use them again. So we'll see how that feels. I think that once they're in the earth, this yard, you don't know. This beautiful yard and the spirits of this land are transmuting a lot. There's a lot of offerings too at the base of all the trees, just because, you know, the land is doing such a gorgeous job for me that it's like I feel like I keep having to just offer in devotion and gratitude. Oh my gosh, wait a minute. I lost my place. Okay, so Yes, Emily says, I swear creativity is a huge aspect of the power of the witch. Absolutely. I mean, and also creativity is a reflection of life, which is what we work with, which is what we connect with in so many different ways. And I know, and I love when I get like that hit and it's collaborative. Like you said something, I thought something. I'm like, this is amazing. The Sacred Cottage also says, along with the planetary sigil, you can put it on dissolving rice paper with a marker and then blend it in the oh my God. Shut up, but don't shut up. That's amazing. I love that. That's a great idea. A great idea. Beautiful. Maria said, or Marie. I don't know why I keep saying Maria. I know someone named Maria. Marie, oh my God, all the possibilities to make mist flashing by in my head. Right. We're having like a serious creative moment. Ditch Witch, hello. Thank you for going over. I got it in on the end. Yes. Enjoy the live. And I second creating a witch planner. I have adapted and used witchy planners for years, like a ritual planner. You know what I mean? I know. That's on the list. We should have a collective book of shadows from us and from all the contributions. I know. It's like bits and pieces and notes and files and oh my goodness, one day. Renee says, Emily, I love the collective book of shadows idea. I do too. It's a good idea. Okay, holy cannoli. So we're done, but don't go yet. Let me just go through my list in my head. I have told you, mentioned, announced, right, that there's still a few of the boxes that were supposed to go out yesterday that didn't go out that will go out today. Today's a late pickup too, so it won't happen until the end of the day in California. So we have 2 boxes. We have the one that just has all 3 of the mist sprays with the recipe cards, and then we have the bigger box, the Moon Mist Witch box. It has the sprays, the recipes, the beautiful oracle card holder, and the botanicals. And is there something else? I think there's something else in that box. And the botanicals, and the Book of Shadow card or pages for the botanicals in the second box. So those are the 2 that are still available. We're also doing a sale for the mystery boxes. They've returned. We have a few of those left. Grab those. There are quite a few of those boxes that will come with pretty chunky big bottles of essential oil. Crystals, there are all sorts of things going on in those boxes as well. So that's like 3 boxes that we have available. And subscribe to the box if you haven't subscribed to the box, because we have things coming. And this is when we talk about them here. And okay, 2 more spaces available for our live retreat in September. This is in 2 weeks. It's coming literally around the corner, but it's going to be beautiful and powerful. It's the Ancestral Initiation Retreat. We're going to be ritualing and doing some deep witchcraft magic outside, and it's going to be glorious. So there's a link for that too. I'm kind of slamming poor Emily with a bunch of different things, but Emily, thank you. She will be posting links for you in the chat box. I should have warned you. But grab those links and go there to our website. And is there anything else I need to mention to you? We're at the end of August, starting September. Oh, and we have a Moon Ritual Coven. It's a digital coven where I send you, actually it's 6 rituals each month. One, it's a solo ritual, and then a group ritual for the new moon, the full moon, and the dark moon. There are also quite a few videos that are beginning to accumulate there. I'm making more standalone classes on the moon and putting them there for people who are part of the Moon Ritual Coven. So there's that, because let's just overwhelm poor Emily with all the links. Thank you so much. Yeah, click all the things. And I know Emily rocks the Casbah, I swear. Boom, you've got all of them right there. So grab those links, go check things out. I will be back. We will be back next Friday, 2 days from now, for our live guided meditation stream. So that's Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. It's usually about an hour that we do a guided meditation, which is a nice time to practice at the end of each week. And that is all I think I have. Thank you so much for being here. It was a wonderful conversation. Thank you for sharing and for the ideas. And like that. All right, my loves, have a wonderful day. What's today? Wednesday? Have a wonderful Wednesday. It's hump day. And I will see you hopefully on Friday for our live guided meditation. All right, take care.